What shocking truth did Suzi Quatro reveal about her time on Happy Days that nobody knew for decades? Why did this rock legend almost break physically while filming one of TV's most beloved shows? And what was the real reason she turned down the chance to become a full-time cast member? Stay tuned as we uncover the incredible behind-the-scenes story of how a leather-clad rock icon became a television legend. Suzi Quatro, born Susan K. Quatro on June 3, 1950, in Detroit, Michigan, grew up surrounded by music. Her father, Art Quatro, led a jazz band, while her mother, Helen, encouraged her children's artistic dreams. By age 14, Suzi discovered her true calling, the bass guitar. That deep, pulsing sound became her signature, and she mastered it with the energy and confidence that would define her revolutionary career. In 1964, Suzi and her sisters, including Patti Quatro, formed an all-girl band called the Pleasure Seekers. They were one of the earliest female rock groups to gain attention in America, performing covers and original songs like Never Thought You'd Leave Me. By the late 1960s, they evolved into Cradle, a heavier rock band where Suzi's fierce stage presence truly emerged. Everything changed when British record producer Mickey Most discovered her talent and signed her to Rack Records, inviting her to move to England. When Suzi arrived in the UK in 1971, she stepped into the heart of the glam rock revolution. Her 1973 single, Can the Can, became a massive hit, reaching #1 in the UK, Germany, and Australia. Follow-up hits like 48 Crash, Devilgate Drive, The Wild One, and If You Can't Give Me Love solidified her status as an international superstar. What made Suzi Quatro revolutionary wasn't just her sound, it was her presence. Dressed in tight leather and wielding her bass guitar, she commanded stages with the same swagger as her male counterparts. She proved women could rock just as hard, inspiring countless artists including Joan Jett, Debbie Harry, Tina Weymouth, and Chrissie Hynde. She paved the way for the rise of women in rock bands and gave visibility to female instrumentalists in a time when they were rarely seen on stage. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn, one that would thrust this rock goddess into millions of American homes. Why did Suzi Quatro almost say no to Happy Days? The answer reveals just how dedicated she was to her true passion, music. In the late 1970s, Suzi Quatro received a call that would change her life. She was offered a role on the hit American sitcom Happy Days as Leather Tuscadero, a tough, talented rock musician and the sister of Pinky Tuscadero. When I first got the call about Happy Days, Suzi explained, I honestly thought it was a joke. I was a full-time rock musician, touring the world, playing bass, and living out of a suitcase. Acting on a sitcom was the last thing on my mind. But the role of Leather Tuscadero was basically written as Suzi herself, a confident rocker who fronted her own band. Still, she had to fight hard to prove herself to the producers and some cast members who weren't sure if a real rock star could handle scripted television. They thought I'd show up and not know how to act, she revealed. But I took it seriously. I studied, rehearsed, and made sure that Leather was authentic, not just some caricature of a rocker. The character quickly became a fan favorite. Leather Tuscadero was independent, talented, and didn't take nonsense from anyone, especially the men. In the male-dominated entertainment world of the 1970s, this was a bold and rare portrayal. I didn't realize it at the time, Suzi reflected, but Leather represented something really important for young women. She wasn't somebody's girlfriend. She was her own person with her own talent, her own music, her own dreams. A lot of girls wrote to me back then saying, "You showed me that I could be strong too." That meant everything to me. But now comes the shocking truth that Suzi Quatro kept hidden for decades. What nearly broke this rock legend during her Happy Days stint? The answer is more intense than anyone imagined. What people don't know, she revealed at 75, is that I was dealing with exhaustion from touring while filming the show. I'd fly in from London, shoot for a week, and then go back on the road. There were times when I barely slept. I loved the experience, but it nearly broke me physically. Suzi also struggled with another challenge, balancing her identity. I didn't want to be seen as a novelty act, she admitted. I was a musician before I was an actress, and I didn't want the TV role to overshadow that. I wanted to keep my credibility in the rock world. Working with the Happy Days cast brought its own pressures. Henry Winkler, who played the iconic Fonzie, made her feel welcome from day one. Henry was a sweetheart, she said warmly. We had great chemistry, and that made filming so much fun. But I was also a bit intimidated because everyone on set was so polished, so professional. I was this rock chick walking into their world. She paused, then smiled, adding, "But you know what? By the end, I felt like family. We all had so much respect for each other. And here's the most surprising revelation of all. Why did Suzi Quatro turn down the chance to become a regular on Happy Days? They wanted to make Leather a regular character, she confessed, but I couldn't do it. My heart was on stage, not in front of a studio audience every week. I had to follow the music. That's where I belonged. This decision defined Suzi Quatro's entire philosophy. Despite the fame and fortune a regular TV role would have brought, she remained true to her first love, rock and roll. It was the right call, she reflected. I loved that Leather came in, made her mark, and then rode off into the sunset. That's how I like to remember her. Fierce, free, and unforgettable. Throughout her personal life, Suzi maintained this same authenticity. In 1976, at the height of her fame, she married guitarist Len Tucky, her longtime collaborator, who had played an integral role in her touring band and creative process. They built a family together, welcoming 2 children whom Suzi has always described as the center of her world, and purchased a manor house near Chelmsford in Essex, England in 1980. Despite their eventual divorce in 1992 after 16 years together, the manor remained her home and symbol of family continuity. In 1993, she married Rainer Haas, a respected German concert promoter, strengthening her connection to Europe, where she had long enjoyed a devoted fan base. Throughout the decades, Suzi Quatro continued to record and perform, releasing numerous albums that reflected her evolving artistry and lifelong dedication to rock and roll. At 75, Suzi Quatro continues to perform and inspire new generations. She divides her time between Essex, Hamburg, and Detroit, 3 cities representing her rich, multi-layered identity. People always ask if I'd do Happy Days again, she mused, and I tell them, Leather never really left. She's still a part of me every time I walk on stage. Suzi Quatro's shocking truth about Happy Days isn't a scandal. It's a revelation of perseverance, passion, and artistic integrity. She nearly broke herself physically, refused fame for authenticity, and stayed true to her rock and roll heart. Her reflections offer a glimpse into the resilience and authenticity that have defined her entire career. As she perfectly summarized, I've always lived by one rule: be yourself, even if it shocks a few people along the way.